Next is from Jonathan Wood. The subject is WWE Mexico. Hey, Conan and Disco, and to a lesser extent, Joe. After the tremendous success that WWE has been having with PLEs and splits and spits outside the U.S., what does that mean? What's a
I don't
PLE?
know. I don't
I
know.
was wondering your thoughts on the viability of a PLE at Estado. Look that up, Joe. What is P?
Yeah, I'm
Let me
looking
look
at it
up this
now.
acronym. PLE meaning PLE WWE. Hang on.
Uh,
Uh, what does PLA mean? WWE means
look up
um,
sports.
premium
PLE.
premium
Oh, God.
live
Premium
event.
live event. Okay.
Premium live event. Okay.
Yeah.
A premium live event in Estadio Azteca. Do you think this would be a success, or would it not draw the crowd to make it look full financially successful? Also, with all the local legends that WWE used in Puerto Rico and the UK, would WWE be able to use AAA workers for a run-in? There's an exclusivity deal with AEW. Also, Disco, had a question a fortnight back about Doug Gilbert that I think you missed the point of, and I instead just called me a mark. The main thing I was asking was either of you been in a locker room when someone went into business for themselves and accused another worker of a felony like as was the case with Gilbert. Lawler wasn't in the building, but if he accused a worker it seems like that might lead to fisticuffs. It never happened. Okay, of course not.
Well, there
Thank.
was the time that Scott Steiner called out DDP, and it was unscripted, and they did get into a fight, right?
But that was on TV. This is in the locker room.
Oh,
Thanks
so
again for the content. Hopefully, there's some hot news segment down the road with whoever might be available. Speaking of which, can we expect a new episode of Get My Go concerning Billy? Hope you guys are doing well. That's from John Wood. But what, Joe? You don't do Get My Go anymore, do you?
uh, none of us really know what's going on, but Mike Durbin has been noted as saying it's on an indefinite hiatus, whatever that means. So
What do you think about that, Conan?
It's best for the show and best for the listeners.
Is it best for the world,
It
for
really
humanity?
is because it was affecting people's capacity to learn and reproduce.
Joe,
Yeah.
Go tweet that
Mhm.
Get My Go is on hiatus and see if Elon Musk likes the tweet.
yeah,
Okay. Conan, would the show do good there?
What?
WWE showed Estado Azteca.
Yeah, if they the right angle and they'd have to use some Mexican talent, they could probably maybe sell it out. That's 100,000 people.
And they would you could do the run-ins like they did with the Puerto Rico
Yeah,
stuff, like the time.
right.
Yeah, you could actually
Yeah,
absolutely do that, right?
yeah.
Who would main event? Bro, would Dominic versus Rey Mysterio rematch main event would sell out that stadium?
Well, obviously the whole card that
Right,
alone isn't going to do it. You just have to have a strong card, and they have enough people to do it.
right.
And
Um,
maybe bring in a Bad Bunny or a Logan Paul, or you know what I'm saying? All hands on deck, bro. Like if you were going to Saudi Arabia.
this is a dumb question from
I know.
Joshua Johnson.
I was going
Oh
to
my
say,
god.
Di, I question Ford in this because the answer is clearly no.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
We're gonna suspend the guy for a stupid question.
Yeah.
Hello, K100 crew. With the recent Hollywood writers' strike going on right now, do you think that the writers' strike will affect the current WWE storylines, or is it going to be just business as usual, even though the WWE writers are not part of the guild? Thank you.
Well, you're answering your own question.
Let's suspend the guy for stupid question. Okay? Of course it won't. They're not part of the guild. They're not on strike.
Yeah,
Right.
that's
Nick Khan said that himself.
He's right.
he answered his own question. Man.
Yeah. Bro, let me make a great point. Okay? That writer's strike, all right, and that's and the thing, bro, that's one of the reasons you can't unionize professional wrestling. If the show, bro, it's like the show won't go on.
Right.
Good.
The thing's
Well, if
got,
they don't meet their demands, why should it? You know, that's a take it.
I,
That's basically it was against corporations getting too much power and doing whatever they want, like they do now. Bro, we don't
well,
have a pension. We don't have a pension. We didn't get overtime. We didn't get workman's comp. We didn't get a lot of.
right.
That's what. It's easy to get rich when you know take advantage of people's rights. But anyways,
Yeah,
that's
well, the
why
people that working got rich too. So I would that'd
not
be my devil's
everybody.
advocate. Well, a lot of guys did.
Yeah, but
Next is
just
from Fall.
remember this. This is a tip for you 1099ers, independent contractors. If you do work over 8 hours a day or 40 hours a week, no matter if you're an independent contractor or not, they owe you time and a half. It's the law. You can get it.
Yeah. Next from Fall Vampire, and the subject is Jericho equals Troll King. A few days ago, it was announced that AEW's now sold 60,000 tickets for All In 2023. I'm writing this on May 7th. By the way, now they say 60,000 tickets have been sold. All right. Now, obviously, a lot of those have been sold to the secondary markets, and now they're reselling the tickets.
Right.
All right, that does not mean, if they had the show tomorrow, there'd be 60,000 people in there. That means like they've sold the tickets now. StubHub or whatever, all these other things. Now they're trying to sell the tickets now, but
But it's
obviously,
usually a barometer that you're going to have a good
right.
house, yeah.
But I will say that this constant thing, the seats are not filled yet. All right, but they will be over the course of the next 2 months as people buy them. Right? Okay. Yeah, the tickets. Let's make that clear. The tickets have been sold. The seats have not been filled. All right.
Yeah.
Right on cue, Chris Jericho released a video on social media taking full credit for the ticket sales.
Mm-hmm. Good for him.
Now we all know that Jericho doesn't generally think that he's the sole reason for this huge event, but do you think that he, quite brilliantly, made this video to simply troll all the critics, people like Cornette and Dutch Manchell, saying that Jericho isn't a draw anymore? Or maybe could Jericho really think that he's the draw? Billy Body's now claiming to have AEW insiders feeding him news. Of course they would. Why wouldn't he get more sources once he gets kicked off K100? He's such a liar. I don't know. I don't listen to his.
I don't imagine Billy has any AEW sources.
The only thing I listen to
is not like Billy.
I listen to Billy's his soccer podcast still. He's still very good at that.
Mm-hmm.
What was I going to say here? Why don't you do this, show while we're recording the show?
Sure.
Let's get a comment from Chris Jericho on that. Okay, so text him and see if he wants to comment on does he genuinely think that he's the sole reason for this huge event, or he made this video simply to troll all the critics? Okay.
All right.
And let's get a comment. All right.
All right.
Next is from whatever. Adrian M. And the subject is another question that may make it to the mailbag. Been a while since I wrote an email. Question: besides Punk and the Elite possibly being able to draw ratings for AEW if they booked off their prior heat, if the Elite could get their panties out of their, are there any other angles in that company that you guys feel could possibly draw ratings? I don't see many wrestlers or angles that could draw on many viewers. Hard to watch AEW, and I'm glad you guys do so I don't have to. Your thoughts? P.S. I do think SmackDown is way better than Slash Raw. Day one listener and who? Patreon member, Adrian Methos McKinney. Bro, let me tell you something. I'm very, extremely disappointed. Okay, that, like this podcast is like the only people calling out how ridiculous it is that they're going to bring Punk back and they're not going to deliver this angle. That they're literally going to split these guys so they don't have to work with each other. And maybe they're swerving us because maybe Punk versus Kenny Omega could main event Wembley. Bro, because this is a storyline that will get you viewers. It's real. Everybody knows what happened. Even people at the WWE knows what happened. WWE fans might be interested in watching an angle like this play out on AEW's television. They could pull some of their fans. It's just fascinating to me that we're just like, well, they're coming back, but they're not going to wrestle each other. We're going to have you're going to have a new show? Just to satisfy these guys coming back that don't want to work with each other? Come on, that's ridiculous. I mean, seriously. Conan, let's go over this again for people that are listening to the show for the first time. How would you deal with this case as the booker of AAA? These guys had a fight. We had to Dorian had to send Punk home. Dorian has come to you and said, you know what, Conan, I want to make some money off this. I'm paying these guys a lot of money. All right, I think I saw the numbers. Collectively, per year, all right, these guys are collectively, between the four of them, making $12 million. I'm paying them $12 million combined. I want to make some money back off of this. Conan, we'll try to make this work. What are you going to tell these guys?
Yeah, I would just basically tell them, I think we're all in here to make money. We're past, being a marks for ourselves. And are you here to make money or not? Can we fix this or not? And who else are you going to make this type of money with? How much merchandise will you be able to sell off of it? This is going to raise your stock. I mean, wherever you look at it, this is something that needs to happen, and you need to put your differences aside. And if you can't, then we can't work together.
Yeah. Next is
because it sends a sign to the other wrestlers that they can't get away with that. Because once you do it, now you've opened up a whole you rattle the hornet's nest, and everybody's going to say, well, they did it. I don't want to be on the show with this guy, and I don't want to wrestle this guy. And now
Yeah.
you've lost command of everything,
Yep. Yeah. And those guys are three of the executive VPs.
Right.
They need to understand that, I don't know. All right, next is from
Well,
Jared
we got a
Avion.
response. We got a response from Chris Jericho. This is, of course, breaking news. I asked him, from your video comments, do you really feel you're responsible for the 60,000 tickets sold for Wembley, or are you just trolling your critics? And Chris Jericho's official response is, I'm pretty sure I'm responsible for at least 12,975 of them. So he's taking credit for like almost a quarter.
Yeah.
Fifth.
Yeah, fifth.
Yeah.
Oh, well. So.
I think he's underestimating himself. I'll give him 25.
All right.
Yeah, we'll go 30.
Yeah.
Next is from Jared Avion, who still to this day, we let him skate. I don't know. Why do we let him skate on this, by the way?
Because he's a friend of the show.
All right.
Yeah.
Next is from because he was
Long
supposed
time
to,
listener.
because he, in a very condescending manner, can we agree that that word is accurate, condescending towards us?
Right.
That we were stupid for not thinking that Liv Morgan was turning heel based on her actions in the show and her interviews. And we said she was not turning heel based on the stuff that he thought she was doing she was turning heel. And 6 months later, is she a heel?
No.
Did she ever turn heel?
No.
Did I make a condition for him to come back on the show? He has to apologize for that.
Yes, and he hasn't.
Right. But we're gonna escape because let him escape because he's a friend of the show. Subject is LA Knight, World Heavyweight Champion. Hi K100 fam, hope everybody's doing well. Do you guys think it's possible we see possibility we see LA Knight, guy who is getting such great reactions from all sorts of crowds, and a guy with superstar charisma and promo skills, have a main event feud with Universal Champion Roman Reigns? Been a big fan of LA Knight for many years. I can feel he can hang in the main event spot in WWE. However, I see some fans online bring up his age as a reason why WWE won't pull the trigger on him as a main eventer. But I think that's a foolish reason. What does the crew think? And even one step further, do you see LA Knight becoming the World Heavyweight Champ or Universal Champ for WWE? Thank you. This best, Jared. Bro, let me tell you something. This age thing in wrestling,
it's not what
if
it
a guy,
once meant.
it's not what it was. If a guy is in shape, okay, and looks apart, it does not matter how old the guy is. Flair, Hogan, Macho, all those guys over 40 years old, world heavyweight champions. Nick Bockwinkel was a world heavyweight champion and killing it at 51 years old.
Yeah, man. Yep.
And didn't look like it was like really like he looks like he's in his low 40s, but he was 51 years old. If you can carry it on the mic, you can carry it in the ring, as long as you still got it, the age does not matter.
Yeah,
right?
I'd like to say to you, Disco, that you still got it like that.
Still got it like that. But LA Knight,
Sure.
I'm very disappointed too. Have you noticed? And I'm wondering if somebody's trying to not get him over like they could. Bro, LA Knight has not had hardly any in-ring interviews lately, and that was getting him over huge. He needs another one of those, you know?
I don't know why you would have a guy when it's so hard to get people over that is over and you haven't even pushed him. And there's so many great things you can do to make money with him. Why you wouldn't take advantage of him and try to take his knees out? Because I don't think that's the mentality there anymore.
Yeah.
He's greatly underutilized. I'm just really disappointed so far that he hasn't been able to tap his.
And I could see him as Universal Champion. And if they gave him a proper push, like we've seen them do when they want to, why not World Champ?
Yeah,
Never
they
know.
need to let him loose on the mic a little bit more. Let him come out and tear it up.
Yeah. All right. Next one is from what do you call it? Mike Chandler, and the subject is AAA. Hello, Disco and Conan. This question is for Conan. Came aware of AAA wrestling when you guys showed up in ECW. ECW never watched it and didn't know how to being from the Pennsylvania, New Jersey area. I just watched my first Triple Mania. I would like to know if there's a way to watch it in English and keep up with what is going on. The wrestlers are extremely athletic, and I would like to follow and understand what is going on. Is Lucha style more character-driven, being everyone is kind of over-the-top, colorful-looking characters? If you could define Lucha into a dummy, how would you define or explain it? Also, I found the commercials advertised in the background of Triple Mania very distracting. Is there a money reason that they're playing in the background all show? Obviously.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Conan. This question's for you.
Yeah, I'll take that last one first. Yeah, there is a money reason. If you're running an event, whatever this guy's, what's his name?
Mike Chandler. It's gonna be
Right, and a company offers you good money to advertise them on your screen. You're not going to do it?
right.
And the other question was what? Something about Lucha, or explain it to him or something. What was it?
Yeah, how would you define it to someone who doesn't know anything about it?
A lot of people wear masks. It's quicker paced. There's more high flying. Entertainment supersedes logic unless you're in a feud for the most part. Women can wrestle men. We use a lot of little people that are called minis, exoticos, which is like from the LGBTQ thing. We lose a lot of them. We have a heel ref. And people have been educated to this style for 80 years. You know, a lot of cultural stuff doesn't resonate here. But even today, you'll see a lot of stuff in the United States is lucha centric, you know, and a lot of Mexicans have gotten over, you know.
Um, so next is from Jose Sanchez, and subject is, does Cross have heat? Hey K100 crew, hope you're all well, even Joe. Getting right to it is what the hell is up with how they're booking Cross? You had him debut attacking Drew and coming face to face with Roman, and ever since done a lot of stop and go when he gets a little traction, they have him lose clean. My opinion, this guy's money and checks most, if not all, the boxes: size, ring ability, and promo. All I can think is he does have heat because nothing else makes sense. What does K100 say? Thanks, and that's from Jose Sanchez from Queens, New York. P.S. Disco, I apologize for divulging the tender treatment you gave my friend at Different Strokes a few emails back. My friend has since verbally scolded me and wants you to know that he plans on making up to you by performing a cover version of Easy Lover, which he believes is an honor of your life, whatever that means. I hope my apology is accepted.
It's a nice apology.
No, I don't accept this apology. We're going to suspend Jose Sanchez for a week too for that.
Wait a minute.
Yeah, write that down, Joe.
Yep.
No, Cross are just, first of all, Cross was supposed to do an angle with Bray Wyatt, and then Bray Wyatt just took off and said he was sick with COVID or something. That's the story I got. So he's kind of like, they had a whole thing set up for them, and then that kind of disappeared. So, bro, it's just like a lot of guys on that show. Sometimes you just remember when Sami Zayn, they were doing nothing with him forever, and then all of a sudden he just starts going in. Like, bro, sometimes they just don't. Like, they have other stuff figured, they just don't have anything for him. And but what they do is they just don't have him walk out and have a match. If he has a match, they give him like 3 weeks of hype. They give him a couple of promos, which he's good at. You know, they produce his character, and he goes out and he has a match. You know, I mean, he lost to
Nakamura. Yeah, I was just going to ask.
He lost to Nakamura, and he lost to Ray, but he beat Madcap, and he beat it's not like he.
Well, Madcap's nobody. But here's the thing. Here's the thing that was really weird to me. He lost to Nakamura, who is going to Raw, and he's staying in SmackDown. That's ass backwards, you know.
Right. Well,
maybe they're going to give maybe they're going to give Nakamura a big push, you know.
I heard they are. I heard they are going to. They have a plan for Nakamura, so that they're on the other show.
You think somebody's testing him?
No. It's way beyond that.
They wouldn't be giving him that much mic time. Plus, you know the type of employees you have, and he's not the guy that would have heat. He's a model employee. You know, he's the type of guy you want. You know, and so he has ideas. He's not just waiting around for you to give him ideas. You know, he stays in shape. He's sharp on his promos and his character. You know, he's solid in the ring. Yeah, he's not one of these AJ Styles, but he can still go. You know, so he's just one good storyline away from exploding. Now I think he's also had some bad luck here, but let's see what they got from next.